Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Coins Alert. This is Rich with another video about XRP. Today, we're going to talk about XRP, and I have to start with this from Cointelegraph. I hope everyone is having a great day no matter where they are in the world. Haley Welch, also known as Hawk 2 Girl, will not be charged after the SEC ended its probe into the Hawk meme coin. Even though there was a 95% crash and charges of pump and dump, regulators found no wrongdoing on her part. I think it's possible that other people were using her in this pump and dump plan. But this shows that the SEC is no longer going to crack down on crypto in any way. I think there will be crackdowns on rug pulls in the future, though. It feels like we're moving from the Wild West to the age of crypto laws, but they aren't here yet. They're still not ready. But I'm willing to bet that pump and dumps will not be allowed in the future by the SEC. This is from Mr. Mann and is called the Securities Clarity Act. This says that a digital token is not a security just because it is used in a business deal. It is better to think of the token as something different from the investment contract. To describe these kinds of tokens, the bill adds the word investment contract asset and makes it clear that they are goods, not stocks. In other words, the SEC wouldn't immediately be in charge of tokens like XRP or XLM. It would be better to treat them like gold or oil, especially if they aren't tied to a single company that makes claims. With this bill, crypto is recognized by the law and clear rules are made so that writers and users know what to do. These digital currencies need to be called what they are. Every time you move forward with crypto, the SEC will say, well, then XRP is a security. But in this case, it's a good. It needs to have the word commodity written on it. Make sure there is no confusion when all of these institutions start using XRP or XLM every day for deals that move value from one place to another. This act will help crypto in the future. Each rule that used to stop a lot of people from using crypto is being taken apart one by one. This is the way to make regulations clear. It comes from smoke. Every day we see that take place. Now even the FDIC says that banks can do crypto-related things without first getting permission. Now all banks are okay with crypto. I talked about how they want you to leave crypto in the last movie. Who are they? The organizations will be to blame. The banks will be to blame. When the demand for XRP goes through the roof, every bank will want to keep it so that their customers can use it to send money from one country to another. Among other things, that sweet on-demand cash is also nice. But the institutions will have pools of cash on hand. There will also be a lot of different liquidity pools for XRP between businesses, banks, and governments and their central banks. That's when they'll really try to get your XRP back. That's why it's so important to get as much as you can right now and then keep it. This will give you passive income. This is Great Kid talking about the case between the SEC and Ripple being a way to join the big boys club. Listen to this. Just call it greed. I've lived in places like Indonesia. That's not what we call it. We just call it being wet. How wet does this deal look? In other words, how much do you need to pay extra? Do not throw it away. That's what we call being nice. Takeover of regulation. It's kind of like hazing, according to people who have been through it. First you have to go through hazing to join the group. Now you are going to haze the next generation. You'll have to go through the same hell I did. You see, I'm in the tent right now and I could kind of enjoy that, but that's not how I act. There should be a lot of people in the tent. I've always said that Ripple should be based in the US, and in the US it works because you get paid to play. You have to pay to play in the field. And I believe that's what happened in the SEC versus Ripple case. This is really funny. You need to hear this. Well, remember that Gary Gensler was a waste of time when Biden was president. He really wanted to get the markets under Trump's control and fix them. Paul Atkins is going to be hot. This is a great pick. It's the man's life's work to make sure that wealth grows in America. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. Our goal must be to be successful. To do that, you need a healthy regulatory system. That job needs to be done by Paul Atkins. Also, he did a great job yesterday. The Democrats have lost all of their fans and are going crazy. And the cryptocurrency business is a great example of that, Maria. He crushed the industry when he was Gensler. He pretty much put them out of business. Business can come here with Atkins and Trump in office. Let's put new ideas ahead of too many rules in the United States. If you believe in freedom, today was great. I liked that video a lot. Atkins will help us move forward. What he said about Gary Gensler being a dud and Atkins being a stud, but I thought it was funny. I'd like to see how fast Atkins works though. First he needs to take his seat at the SEC, but it looks like they're just putting it off. To compare, the Ripple vs. SEC case has been all about delays since the beginning and is still going on. And I hope they can get Paul Atkins to the SEC as soon as possible so that things can start to go right. People started talking about the private record again now that the price of XRP was going down. Dark trading pools are private trading areas made so that institutional investors can place large orders away from public exchanges. This keeps market effect to a minimum and keeps trades private. The XRP ledger DEX saw more than $400 million worth of trades in the last month. In other words, people say that banks are buying on the private ledger without the public knowing. This isn't changing the price of XRP because it's happening somewhere else, and not on the stock market. The private record also exists for sure. Listen to Bank of India. Our work with XRP is on their CBDC platform, and we're giving advice to small countries, not big ones like India. They're very far along then. We're already using the CBDC tool. A part of our advisory paper filing is to help small countries figure out how they can move to the CBDC. India CBDC is building out on the XRP ledger, but they are doing it on the private ledger. Jazzy Cooper also talks about the secret ledger in this video. In this case, how is this EVM sidechain different from a private sidechain? Yes, you can make your own sidechains with XRP system if you want to. You can tell them apart from each other just like Ethereum's EVM sidechain does from the XRP record. After that, you can change the settings however you want. I'm aware that this model has been used in the past for projects like CBDCs where you might want a more restricted or managed setting for the chain's users. However, it is very different from the public XRP mainnet. That's all there is to it. We know there is a secret ledger, but the price is the same there as it is here. If banks buy on the private ledger, the price might not show up in XRP. This means that XRP would stay cheap on both the private and public ledgers. Now these banks are still being tried out on the secret ledger when they are ready to go live from testing. The secret ledger and the public ledger will both show the same price for XRP if there is one. Take a look. Someone would have mentioned this already. If it was possible to buy XRP on a market and then sell it for a lot of money on the private ledger, this should already be known to everyone, because that's how people are. That's what I've said in other films. There is no reason for this to change the price of XRP or make it go down. If anything, less XRP should make the price go up even more. Many will say that they're just trying to keep the price of XRP low so that everyone can join. To get the banks to work with the organizations. Can even get everyone who wants to start an ETF on board. They could also get a lot of XRP for very little money. No matter how you look at it, this is what it all comes down to. A time when the switch is flipped. The switch will be flipped when the banks are done testing. That means you have to be here when it does. Put tariffs in place, the market falsely rolls back tariffs and the market rebounds. That's the real thing we're seeing. The market goes down every time the president talks about taxes right away. There have been many times like this, especially with Bitcoin, because XRP seems to be doing better than Bitcoin when taxes are talked about. You know, I even thought I made a movie a few days ago. I told him, look, he talked about tariffs, but the price has changed before. Will the market get used to hearing about tariffs? And the big one will be when these taxes go into effect on April 2nd. That's when we'll really see how they change the crypto space. This is what we're seeing right now. Until then, the sensei says the bull run is over. See you in 4 years. I replied, I agree. I think a utility run is coming instead because I can see it happening. Things are really coming together. Everyone says that this cycle is different. When did this cycle become so different from all the others? I think that utility is going to start driving the price of these utility-driven cryptocurrencies, and even the rules